Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber ask a question of, do I think that if it fits your macros has the potential to become an eating disorder? Does it contribute to eating disorders? Interesting question. It's one I've discussed in the past, but it's been quite a long time since this topic has come up. When it comes to disordered eating, what people need to realize, any sort of eating pattern has the potential to contribute to an eating disorder for people who are predisposed to eating disorders. Unfortunately, the fitness world itself tends to attract many people, by and large, a much larger demographic of people who are predisposed to body image disorders and eating disorders. And so what we see here is that originally when If It Fits Your Macros came out, it was done because a lot of people were saying, hey, everyone's got eating disorders with these food restrictions and everything else. And it wasn't everyone. A large number of people did. Absolutely true. The problem is that we saw a lot of people who went over from eating the bro diet, chicken, brown rice, broccoli 6 times a day, all day, every day, who had a disordered eating because they couldn't eat foods not on their list and it gave them anxiety. It's one thing to have a general list of foods that you follow because they're healthy, they're good for you, they fit within your meal planning, they allow you to reach your goals while being overall healthy. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And having food restrictions, saying, I just don't eat this type of food. It's junk food. It's not good for me. It's just empty calories. I'm not interested in doing that to my body. It's another thing if it causes you distress. And that's kind of the difference between an eating disorder versus just a structured eating for your overall health and for your goals. The difference comes to the point of how obsessive do you come about it, and does any deviation from it cause you actual distress and discomfort in your life? And that's the big deal with it. That's the difference. So what you saw, though, was a lot of people who had some disordered eating as a result of that went to If It Fits Your Macros, and they just transferred their eating disorders over to that instead. And it's like, all these people are like, I used to have an eating disorder. All these people have eating disorders who are still eating that way while they now have disordered eating now. And if it comes to a point to where you're tracking your macros and you're not competing in some sort of serious competitive endeavor and you're tracking every gram of your macros, you're very much setting yourself up for an eating disorder. Now, that being said, most of the people who are competing are also predisposing themselves to various disorders they didn't have before also, which is one of the problems with physique competition in general. It tends to promote body image disorders and eating disorders. I've met multiple people in my life who developed these things as a result of actually competing who didn't have them before that. I even interviewed a guy who's had an issue with this, if you guys recall, when I interviewed the bodybuilder Pete a number of years ago, who had some issues from this. If you're at the point with If It Fits Your Macros to where you're actually upset because you couldn't weigh every last gram of ice cream that you're consuming, or you're weighing your Pop-Tarts, and it would actually cause you some distress if you failed to weigh one of them one time, if you get upset or feel distressed or anxious because you failed to weigh a Pop-Tart, and you don't know whether you ate 322 versus 323 grams of carbs a day because of your Splenda, you now have an eating disorder based upon If It Fits Your Macros. That's the difference. And the issue is that it can also cause you problems in public, because people can have clean eating and not be socially ostracized. But when you're at a point to where you go out to a restaurant or a social event and you're having to break out a food scale at the restaurant table or a food scale at Christmas dinner to weigh out that piece of pie, it is going to cause you social issues. It is now going to cause difficulty with social interaction, whereas in someone who are on a different type of meal plan, they just eat high satiety foods for the most part, they're still going to be able to find normal foods to eat and not look like a freak. And what I mean is, you can go to any restaurant and order a steak, steamed veggies, and a baked potato with no butter on the side, and it's not going to look that unusual to most people. No one's really going to have a problem or think it's weird that you've done that. Well, if you're breaking out a food scale at the table, people are going to start to think that there's an issue there. It is going to socially ostracize you. And again, social ostracization is a big part of eating disorders also. So it can contribute to eating disorders, but it's going to depend upon a lot of different factors. And neither type of eating, whether it's clean eating or a bro diet or a vegan diet or a paleo diet or anything else, is automatically an eating disorder. It depends upon how obsessive you get, how distressed you get, and how much social anxiety or social problems are created for you as a result of it. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.